Hello, everybody, and welcome to Behind the Stone, the e-commerce mastermind show. My name is Robert Runyon, and I will be your host. This is the show where we take a deep dive and discuss hot e-commerce topics and share tips that allow decision makers to take their businesses to the next level. I'm super excited to talk about today's topic because it's a huge subject of discussion in the world of e-commerce. Are you tired of not knowing how to market your product or company? Maybe you've got a great product, but you're not sure how to take it to market. Maybe you've experienced roadblocks trying to obtain capital in the past, or you want to scale your business and you're unsure how to do so. Ultimately, you're ready for a system to follow that will save you tons of time, effort, energy, and money that allows you to scale your business. If that's you, then stick around for a few moments so I can show you exactly how to launch your product using a crowdfunding service you have never seen before. Today, I'm gathered by a lovely man named Clint Donaldson from Launchboom. Clint, how are you doing this morning? Tell me about who you are, your role at Launchboom, and how you got started.
I'm doing great. I'm caffeinated and ready to go. I'm the director of e-commerce at Launchboom. I've been with Launchboom almost a year now. I was brought in to scale up our e-commerce business, which is a newer phase for what we do to help people go from idea to crowdfunding launch to scaling a direct-to-consumer business.
Perfect. Thank you so much again for joining me. I'm really excited to have you on the show. So we're going to talk about a variety of different things. We're going to talk about, Launchboom, your company, you, and the whole e-commerce landscape. So before we begin, let's hop on over into talking about your company, Launchboom, and my company, SUNKEN, why we decided to partner. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so at its core, our company, Launchboom, helps people launch their products through crowdfunding platforms. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of systems that help people take them through different phases of growth. And one of those phases or opportunities that we actually don't serve is an opportunity that SUNKEN does serve through the Amazon platform. So it's a good partnership there. So when folks want to scale, they have good partners and reliable partners that we can send them to. So yeah, it's been a great partnership.
That's awesome. Launchboom is a company that is uniquely positioned to help e-commerce brands expand their business. Also it's a complete package for e-commerce brands. And, Launchboom has some really awesome people over there. So Clint, tell me about yourself. What's your background? Where'd you gain your interest in e-commerce?
Well, that started a long time ago in the dark ages of the e-commerce back in the early 2000s. Right out of college, I jumped into e-commerce, started in the sporting goods world, back before Facebook ever existed, social media ever existed, mm-hmm. and really learned by, jumping into the fire, trial and error, back when e-commerce was still fairly new. Helped build businesses, really to be the largest in the market. And I think I'm coming on close to almost $1 billion in e-commerce sales that I've been a part of. So it's been a wild ride, about 20 years now. So it's been a lot of fun.
Wow, $1 billion just by yourself. That's incredible. So tell me about Launchboom. Why was Launchboom started?
Yeah, so Launchboom started about 2012, just by a bunch of friends from college. They started what I would call your typical digital marketing agency back in those days, where they would, mm-hmm. Take clients and do videos, do some digital marketing. It was just kind of, give us your problem and we'll find an answer. We'll do anything. But then eventually they, by happenstance, had someone come and say, hey, can you help me launch my product through crowdfunding? And they said, sure, we'll figure it out. And through that partnership, they actually had a pretty decent result. I think they raised $75,000, a little bit more, in their first raise. And that got them to start to thinking. And that same client came back a few more times, and he raised well over $100,000, I believe, in those subsequent raises. And so knowing that they wanted to build a business on systems that could be repeated and just do it over and over and teach people, they decided to niche down into this crowdfunding business because it was an opportunity that really no one was doing at the time. So that's, really the most successful companies I've been a part of through my career. as they start one way, but then they learn and they don't necessarily have to pivot, but they do what they do best. And crowdfunding is definitely the area that Launchboom took off on, and still does a lot of crowdfunding dollars.
It's really cool, and it's all about adapting, shifting, overcoming challenges. So with that being said, what is the mission of Launchboom?
Yeah, so our mission is basically to create the world's best product launch ecosystem. And ecosystem is a very important word in our mission, because we're trying to think of that whole cycle of what it takes to go from idea to market to scaling a business, and what does that mean in the digital world that we live in. So that's what we're trying to tackle.
Perfect. So what types of products or services does Launchboom offer?
So we have several different offerings, and it all depends on where people are at in their phase of a product idea. So I would say in the very beginning, we have something called an academy. So if someone doesn't have a whole lot of funds, or they're just thinking about, hey, I've got an idea, we have an offering called Launchboom Academy that is really an extreme masterclass where people can learn and then go launch themselves. We also have an additional offering after that called a test boom. That's exactly what it is. Our result we're looking for is to provide value to the client, because we have gone and tested different marketing messages, different audiences, and then we can go back to them and say, this is what works and what doesn't work. We've created all their assets, from video to photography to landing page. We've ran social media reservation pages to try to get people interested. We take those learnings and go back, so then they can either partner with us to actually run their campaign, which is called a launch boom, or they can just take the learnings and say, okay, now I'm going to use my own team and launch it myself. From there, if we do a full campaign, that's exactly what we'll do. We'll run the entire thing for people. We'll build their campaign page, we'll make their videos, all their assets, things like that, and help them launch that. Now, after that kind of sunsets, after 30 to 60 days of crowdfunding, the next offer is called an ad boom, because through Indiegogo, you can still take reservations. So we will basically run marketing strategies towards the Indiegogo page while the crowdfunding is kind of sunsetting and people are figuring out their supply chain. We can still get more reservations and people in that system. Now next, where I really come in is I'm the director of e-commerce of a division called Scale Boom. That's kind of like the end of the crowdfunding, where it's like, okay, great, I've had this crowdfunding raise, I've met my goals, now what am I going to do? Now, if people want to go direct to consumer through e-commerce, they come and talk to our team, and we help scale them as fast as they want to scale through direct to consumer. So again, it's that whole life cycle of idea to scaling your business.
And Launchboom actually, partnered with SUNKEN whenever we were launching our most recent WeFunder campaign, and it was absolutely spectacular. You guys handled everything from end to end and just made the entire experience absolutely phenomenal for us, which brings us right into the next subject, as how Launchboom is positioned to help e-commerce companies.
Yeah, great question. So ideally, through my experience and through all the failures I've had in 20 years, we basically start asking the right questions up front, because me and my background, I had frustrations, trying to launch new brands and launch new verticals and taking all those learnings. So then we've got a system in place so that we can ask the right questions to these new entrepreneurs around, what are their investment needs? What are their financial goals? How do they think they're going to get there? Because a lot of the things that I have found that most entrepreneurs don't think about when they're launching an e-commerce store is, where do I want to go and how am I going to get there? It's just a blind vision, right? So just having the conversations up front to really clearly define, where am I going? How are we going to get you there? And then our team itself, we basically become the partner of everything for their direct-to-consumer business. We become their web development team, their graphic designer, their photographer, their videographer, their Facebook and Google and TikTok and Snapchat agency. We become all that for them, and we just run it for them. Really, all they have to do is learn. So that's a great, valuable thing, is when they, meet with us every month to kind of talk about what we're seeing in the market, presenting their data. That's a huge value for them. So then they can either continue to scale their business, launch another product, whatever it is. It's an educational piece. Plus, hey, we're also growing your business at the same time at a very predetermined return that they need to stay profitable, which most companies don't talk about up front. And that's, at the end of the day, you need cash in the door and have more of it coming in and more of it going out. So we track that a lot.
Exactly. You nailed it, because it's not always running off of other people's money. You got to have a profitable business in order to remain in business, right?
Absolutely.
So why did Launchboom start a full service program for e-commerce companies?
Yeah, another good question. Like a lot of things, I think some of it was on purpose, but some of it was on accident, right? So we had this vision that, there was another need that for folks that after crowdfunding, it's like, now what am I going to do? But we had a few successful, great partners approach us and be like, hey, can you run my website for me? We're like, sure. Just like, a lot of opportunities, we jumped on it and it started to scale fairly slow. We took really a lot of last year to put our systems in place and learn what is the best way for us to provide before we really started to scale our own business. And this year, we're starting to scale much, much more, but just being methodical and learning about what is best for these partners, because what a lot of people think is best going into a partnership probably isn't the right answer. So it's just really, again, asking a lot of questions about expectations and what do you need to define success? And once we define success, we'll figure out how to get there.
Perfect. And you've spoke with a lot of people over the years, especially in this space and working at Launchboom. But what do you see are the biggest needs for sellers in regards to financial tools that they're going to need in order to be successful?
So I would say not so much of a tool as so much of a framework, I would say. One of the things that we do is we provide a framework for people to really understand the drivers of their business from cash in and cash out. And it could be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet to say, okay, what is my cost of goods just to purchase my item, either in raw materials or finished goods. But recently, obviously a big thing is supply chain. What is it going to cost to import my goods? What happens if something like this year happens where your supply chain import fees maybe will double or even triple for some folks? And modeling those scenarios out before you actually jump in head first to really say, really understand, hey, what are the drivers of the business, and modeling out the expectations of if things change in a good way or a bad way so that you're ready, right? You have a plan B, a plan C, because things will change, especially when you're launching. But so again, I wouldn't say so much of a tool. Obviously, like QuickBooks and things like that are going to be the recommended tools for anyone starting up, but it's more of a framework and a decision-making process that we try to put in place for the new entrepreneurs.
You frame that perfectly, because if anything happens, you've got to be prepared. You've got to plan it out. So what other types of tools or services do you see Launchboom offering for or building for e-commerce in the future?
Yeah, great question. So right now, some of the things we don't do that I would love to get into, customer service and fulfillment. And I think those are really all in one, right? Because fulfillment is a marketing tool. Customer service is a marketing tool. So I really see us in the future really rounding out that ecosystem. That kind of rounds out everything to fulfill the customer experience. Someone told me long ago that, the sale is not over until the customer has received it, experienced it, and enjoyed it. So until we can control that, that's kind of where my vision is at for us to be able to have an offer to really white glove the experience for these entrepreneurs if they want to just hand it over and learn from us. So yeah, that would be super exciting, and I would love for us to be able to accomplish that vision in the next few years.
That's awesome. One thing I want to note is that Launchboom has been a tremendous partner for SUNKEN. And, I had mentioned earlier that you'd helped in our most recent WeFunder campaign. we had a successful launch, successful implementation. You are a preferred referral partner when clients are wanting to expand into the Amazon channel and they need funding. Who do we call? We call WeFunder. So let me ask you this. What is Launchboom offering to the friends and family of Sunken Stone?
Yeah, so basically, I think I've sent actually 2 or 3 people just this week to check out Sunken Stone. So again, thinking through the ecosystem and how things have changed so much, really, and I mean, it's changed in the last 3 weeks with iOS changes with Facebook and Apple, and I mean, really any social media platforms. So we're really pushing people to look at their business holistically through all different channels, and that's the reason why I've sent a few folks over to Sunken Stone this week. Is they're not on Amazon, and it's like, okay, what's happening through my marketing spend? Are people actually going to Amazon and things like that to check out their products? So really understanding and bringing in their data from Amazon into what is happening on their direct-to-consumer site, and just really understanding the holistic return, because if you've been in the digital world, the reporting and finite ability to see dollar in, dollar out is much more gray today than what it was 3 weeks ago. Honestly, it's just check out Sunken Stone if you want to get into the Amazon world. But we're just here to help in any way. If people have, ideas, if they've got questions, we've got office hours through our academy. I believe it's every Monday or Tuesday. But people can just email me, clint@launchboom.com, or just email the team, hello@launchboom.com, and we can point you in the right direction. It may not be something that we personally can help you with, but I know we have enough connections to point people in the right direction to go find the right answer. So we have lots of opportunities to help out.
Perfect. Thank you so much for clarifying. So in order for somebody to get into contact with Launchboom, you can visit their website for testimonials, their recent launches, and view the results from their previous clients. There's going to be a link in the description box below this video for y'all to check out. Or you can email Clint directly from the Launchboom team at hello@launchboom.com. One thing I want to note about Launchboom before, in closing here, they took a client from right at $50K in crowdfunding to right over $5.5 million in 8 months. Great, amazing people. And Clint, I really appreciate for having you on the show today. I'm so excited to have you on in a future episode. And with that being said, thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.